Congressman who votes no on gay marriage immediately attends gay son's wedding. Last Tuesday, U.S. Representative Glenn Thompson from Pennsylvania voted against the Respect for Marriage Act. If it passes the Senate, the bill will require the federal government to recognize same-sex and interracial marriages performed in other states, even if they are not legal in the state where the individuals live. On Friday of last week, just 3 days after his vote, he attended the wedding of his son and his husband. When asked by the Center Daily the day after the vote why he voted against it, he said, quote, "This bill was nothing more than an election year messaging stunt for Democrats in Congress who failed to address historic inflation and out-of-control prices at gas pumps and grocery stores," end quote, Thompson said. Thompson, despite having a gay son, currently has a 0 rating on the HRC's Congressional Scorecard and voted against the Equality Act in 2020.
Gaslighting. This is gaslighting.
Mm-hmm. How about Father's Day at his house?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So now the gays are responsible for inflation and gas prices.
Right.
But you know what? It saved the wedding a lot of money because they didn't need to get a tent because all the gays there provided plenty of shade.
Right? Exactly.
When I read this, it's like I didn't know whether to go after the father or the son, because in my mind, the son should have disowned him. At a minimum, I mean, as my phone is going off on my hip, they don't know I'm here. You know, I've circulated this meme before, and I'll circulate it again. You don't say you love your gay children and then turn around and vote for things or people who are going to harm them.
Well, I think that's the point of the hypocrisy that we're watching. This is gaslighting because he can't say gay marriage is important. And so as a result, this is a terrible, stupid waste of time. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That's our senator from Florida that says they won't focus on inflation or all of the things that are important to us. Well, I guarantee all of us sitting here at the table, gay marriage is a central issue of our lives, the protection in our lives. And when Clarence Thomas wrote, you know, we should revisit marriage and even sodomy laws on the same justification that states' rights trump federal protectionism because it is not specifically outlined in the Supreme or in the Constitution, makes it a central issue for us, perhaps even greater than inflation. And by the way, don't gaslight, because we're capable of concentrating on both issues simultaneously.
That's exactly
where
I'm
not
going.
stupid, but it does not mean that marriage is not critically important to us. And by the way, I listened to a very fascinating report last night of lots of people coming in. This Respect for Marriage may be a lion killer in the midterm elections. So much conversation is going on what was the most important thing on the congressional vote. Not that it passed, but that 47 Republicans, I kept asking this question last week through the Democratic caucus. I kept asking this question because to me that was such a big issue. Now it is coming out that like 42 of those 47 are in highly competitive congressional races. And given the choice of coming out against gay marriage and potentially being defeated over it because there's an 82% acceptance of gay marriage, they chose to support gay marriage. Bing! Our ears should pop up instantaneously. And that's why everyone is not singing gloom and doom on the Senate vote, because the exact same thing is happening. This moron who goes to his son's marriage and wedding is incredibly at risk because everyone all over the country is telling this story. See the hypocrisy that this vote meant? 47 are going, no, I can't survive this, so therefore I'm voting yes. Well, at the end of the day, do we care why they vote yes? No. They supported our marriage. Respect for marriage.
You know, I think it's all in one person's hands now. It's in Mitch McConnell's hands. I don't know, this is a little inside politics, but the vote was a free vote. Kevin McCarthy, the leader of the Republican caucus, did not did not
Explain that, John.
whip.
A lot of LGBT probably do not understand what this means.
Okay, so usually they whip a vote. They tell their members, you must vote this way. This is the party line, and we're going to put it get as much support for or against something. This time, McCarthy said to the members, vote your conscience, vote your district, vote however you want to. And so there was no pressure from above to force people to vote against the bill. There's already 5 solid votes in the Republican Senate caucus,
Including Wisconsin.
to break the filibuster. And if Mitch McConnell allows a free vote, I really do think they can get to 10. It might not come until after the November election in the lame duck session, but I think that they might be able to get there.
Do you think that they would put the vote off that long?
Yes. If it protects their members, and if Chuck Schumer says, well, we're at 8 votes, but in the lame duck we can get to 10 because people won't have to face voters for a few more years, I think that they will do that.
I hope they don't wait that long.
Yeah, and I hope that the statistics you said actually carry true, that 87% of all Americans believe that it.
Yeah.
Get married.
Well, and that's what's happening to the Republicans because this ship has sailed. It's really interesting, not for this conversation, but it's really the interesting conversation on trans because trans is not there. There's not, the majority of Americans are against the trans issues that we are fighting for or our community is fighting for in advocacy, and a significant rejection even in our own community on trans right issues.
We don't have our own community 100% sold on this idea.
So unfortunately, set trans issues aside just for the sake of this discussion. That is not the same thing for LGBT marriage rights. There's overwhelming support of it. And what this vote, Respect for Marriage, points out is that in that overwhelming support, most of America has moved on over the last decade. And as a result are going, wait, if you want to focus a light on something, you're focusing a light on the wrong thing. And that's why the Republicans are wobbling on this issue, because the culture war that they're selling has to be on sexualizing children and their opposition to trans issues that we're talking about. That's not marriage.
Right. And that's what I wanted to mention, because do Republicans realize that the platform that they're creating for themselves right now are against abortion and sexualization of children and, taking books out of public schools and drag shows and, all of these things? Like, it just at the top of it, it just makes them sound really ridiculous. Like, this is what you're fighting for now?
Right. But that's one of the reasons why the gentleman who went to his son's wedding didn't answer the question. They asked him about like how he loves his son and how he could do this after supporting his son. He never even addressed that. He went right on to, oh, look, shiny thing, gas prices, food prices.
Gaslighting.
And they never got back to saying you didn't answer the question.
Who was the moronic reporter
right.
that goes, okay, I completely understand inflation's a big deal, but let's talk about your son's marriage a moment.
Yeah, and that's what they needed to do, because I think we all agree that gas prices and food prices affect all of us, and we're all upset about that, and we'd all like to see that changed. But that isn't the focus. In this case, it's something that's going to change people's lives.
Yeah.
I wonder if he gave a toast at the reception.
We, from what I understand, production worked very hard to try to find sound video of this experience.
Mitch McConnell gave his son away.
No, they were.
All right.
They were very
Bob, let's move on and let's talk about drag. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.